Today's assignment then follows up on yesterday's, where we talked about different biases in the media and how to identify what those biases are. So what I'm going to ask you to do today is open up this political ideologies chart and take a look at a PDF that has liberal versus conservative beliefs. And I want you to decide where you stand on the issues, because it's important for you to understand what your own political ideology is. Okay. Even if you are 15, 16 years old and you think that you have absolutely zero interest in politics and that you have exactly no ideology at all. An ideology, by the way, is a set of ideas, a way of thinking about things. Trust me, you do. Okay. And as I pointed out yesterday, when we're younger, we tend to hold the same political ideologies as the adults in our household. So if our parents or our granny or our auntie or uncle or whoever, if Tia is a Democrat, then we are probably getting a Democrat's perspective every time that we are in the house. So since we tend to believe what the adults in our lives tell us when we're young, you probably at this point in your life hold a pretty similar ideology as whoever the adults are that you live with. But that's not always true. In my particular family, my parents and my youngest brother and I all share the same political ideology. And then I have one brother who's the black sheep, who is completely on the other side of the spectrum. So as you grow and you learn things and you ingest more information and you consume more media, you are going to start to develop your own beliefs. And maybe someday your views will be the same still as the adults in your life, or maybe they'll end up being completely different. But what we want to know today is, where do we stand today? Because our own political ideology, our own bias, helps us understand how to interpret and navigate the bias that we see in the media. Okay. So you're going to reference, there is an article link here. Okay. You're going to go ahead and reference this article, which, by the way, I have also downloaded as a PDF to this assignment. So if for some reason you click here and you can't see it, then you are going to just use the PDF. So this was revised in 2010. So it's about 10 years old now, but it still holds pretty true. Okay. So liberals. This is liberal left. They both begin with L. So when you hear left wing, liberal. Liberals believe in government action to achieve equal opportunity and equality for all. It is the duty of the government to alleviate social ills and to protect civil liberties and individual and human rights. Believe the role of government should be to guarantee that no one is in need. Liberal policies generally emphasize the need for government to solve problems. Okay, so liberals like to rely on the government or push the government to do things to make sure that everybody has equity. Okay. I don't like equality as a word here. It's more equity. Okay. Because we're not all the same. And when we hear equal, we tend to think, oh, well, equal means the same. And that's not true. One way to look at it would be that we all have equal opportunities and that we need the government to help us have equal opportunities. The other way, equity, would be to say, okay, this person is at this level and this person is at this level. So how can we raise this person up a little bit so that they can have the opportunity to achieve the same things as the person who was already a little, had a little more advantage than they did. So that's what I mean by equity. Okay. Conservatives, right wing. So when you hear right wing politics, it means the same as conservative politics. Conservatives believe in personal responsibility, limited government, free markets, individual liberty, traditional American values, and a strong national defense, meaning military. Believe the role of government should be to provide people the freedom necessary to pursue their own goals. Conservative policies generally emphasize empowerment of the individual to solve problems. So as opposed to the government should get involved and help people solve their problems, they believe that it should be entirely up to the individual to solve their problems, because it would encroach on the individual's freedoms if the government got involved. Okay. So this is a super duper widely painted view of what it means to be liberal versus conservative. So what they've done is they have broken it down by issues. All right. So I'm not going to read through all of this to you. You're going to have to look at it yourself. Let's see. This does note here the same that I just said. Left and right define opposite ends of the political spectrum. In the US, liberals are referred to as left or left wing, and conservatives are referred to as right or right wing. On the US political map, blue represents the Democratic Party, which generally upholds liberal principles, and red represents the Republican Party, which generally upholds conservative principles. Most people are not all the way to the left or all the way to the right. Most people are somewhere in the middle. Okay. So you may find that that's where you land, is somewhere in the middle. What I want you to do is you have this chart, political ideology chart. So next to each issue on the sheet, I want you to highlight whether you feel that you're more liberal or more conservative. I have not given you a middle of the road because I am going to demand that you choose a side. Okay. Just for the sake of this particular assignment, I know the world is not black and white. I know there are shades of gray, okay? But I want you to choose where you think you lean the most, toward what liberals believe or what conservatives believe. So like the first issue here, major issue, is abortion. So what you do is you go to here and you see that this is the liberal perspective on abortion issues and that this is the conservative view on abortion issues. So you're going to read these two things and you're going to decide, do I lean more liberal or do I lean more conservative? And once you've decided, you are going to just go on in here, highlight whichever it is that you believe you are. Okay, so you just go in and you the highlight color, highlight it. Okay. Let me delete that so that it's not that way on your document. So you're going to go through for each one of these issues and you're going to choose, I believe I'm more liberal or I believe I'm more conservative. But for each one, I want you to, in this last box, state your reason for each response. So if you believe that you're more liberal on the issue of abortion, I want you to type in here why. Okay. Now, just as an example, this says a woman has the right to decide what happens to her own body. A fetus is not a human life, so it doesn't have separate individual rights. The government should provide taxpayer-funded abortions for women who can't afford them. An abortion is a personal choice. Women's own body, blah, blah, blah. Women should have the right to decide their own bodies. So if you agree with that, you're going to go in here and you're going to say, well, here's why I believe I am more liberal leaning because I believe the woman should have the right to make decisions about her own body. Okay. On the other side of this, and I'm not going to read this word for word, but conservatives believe human life begins at conception, meaning when the sperm meets the egg. Abortion is murder. Unborn babies should have separate rights from the mother. Tax-funded abortion should not be allowed. If a person shouldn't even be allowed to have an abortion. It should be illegal to have an abortion, et cetera, et cetera. So if that is more in line with your beliefs, then you're going to highlight conservative and you're going to write in here, because I believe that killing an unborn baby is a murder of a human being, or whatever your reason is. So after you have finished going through all of these issues and writing down why you believe what you believe, you're going to go to the end here, number 4, that says, after you finish the chart, write a paragraph answering the prompt at the end of this assignment. So you're going to go down here and there is a writing prompt here, right here. It says, overall, would you say that you are a liberal thinker, a conservative thinker, or somewhere in the middle? Explain your response, citing at least 3 reasons. I'm going to say write at least 1 paragraph. Because if you are truly explaining why you think you are where you are, and you're truly citing at least 3 specific reasons from this assignment, then you are going to have to write at least 1 full paragraph to answer this question. Okay? So all of this here is what you are going to be doing today. When you're done with the chart, number 3 says, when finished, go back to yesterday's KWL and complete the final column. So what you'll do is you'll go back to yesterday's media bias assignment. You'll open that puppy up. You'll scroll down to the last slide. Sorry, my internet is a little bit slow at home. You're going to open up that last slide, and over here in the What I Learned chart, you're going to fill out this final column of the chart. Okay? So after all of yesterday's work and all of today's work, here is what I have learned about liberal versus conservative ideologies. I'm going to reiterate to you again that the reason that it is so important that you know what these ideologies are and what each side stands for. And it's important that you know your own position on that spectrum. You know and understand your own ideologies. It's so important that you understand all of those things in order to really, truly interpret the news and understand how bias affects what you get from the news. Okay? So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Once again, I reiterate, email, text, call, because leaving comments on Google Classroom and leaving messages in Clever are things I do not see right away. Okay? Email, text, call. Got it? Have a great day.